Manish, talking about the treasury industry and whatever is happening in the industry from a domestic and a global perspective, what do you see are the emerging trends and innovations in treasury management that you believe will significantly impact the industry in the next 5 years?
So it's a very good question, Roshan. So in a nutshell, I told you about the treasury function. It's about procurement, deployment, and then surplus investment. So it varies from size to size. Like a company in a smaller scale, it's easier to manage. You can manage it with a small team.
Right.
You might have 5-6 lenders.
Right.
But higher organization, bigger organizations like big NBFCs of layer 1, L&T, Bajaj and all, I don't think there is any bank which would be left for getting the money. And then it's all repayments are scattered month-wise. It's very difficult. So there need to be some kind of technological intervention by which people can understand that they don't skip any of the repayment. Number one.
Right.
Number two is the moment of the cash flows are very dynamic in nature and very quick decisions are taken to manage the entire cash flow on daily basis.
Right.
When you start your day and when you go back, the cash flow should match.
Right.
There should not be a single paisa difference. It's a very tedious job.
I'm sure.
It must be having some kind of, technological intervention by which the life becomes easier, and there are. And similarly, any deployment or repayment coming back should not have any time difference in tenor wise. So the ALM also should be there, well managed. So all this requires, and there are various kind of now the treasury tools available into the market which helps people. For those tools, they are now available to sync with your ongoing system, so that it's it's user friendly, so that it's very user friendly. People understand it very well and deploy it. So in the trend is now to automate the functions more.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm more talking about the activity towards the fund raising and movement perspective. Treasury also involves the trading and various other kinds of functions where when it comes to deployment, there already various kind of automations had happens and people are enjoying various kind of good technical support. So yes, now it's time where people should start automating the treasury function. Right.
Interesting. Now, Manish, you worked in large organizations in treasury functions. Now, how does your experience with these different organizations influence your perspective on industry's best practices and the approaches that you've adopted?
So I would rather put it in another word. Most of the industry I have worked had been highly regulated.
Right.
By the regulator. NBFC regulator is RBI. So
Right.
since I started my career and today, I think we are in a highly regulated world.
True.
In terms of NBFC, and the people who had been earlier working with the NBFCs, larger NBFCs, having that in mind that either today or tomorrow we need to change a bit so that we are in compliance with the regulatory aspect which can come in future. So
Right.
the serious players always had been ready to adopt any kind of new regulations. So irrespective of the size, I have seen the governance part of the serious players were always very, very transparent and good into the system. However, size had been mattered only for the segments like Edelweiss had been heavily into the real estate, big projects funding side,
Right.
then high ticket funding to the business loan side. Similarly, Carvey and UE Exchange had been into the smaller ticket size of say 15 crore to 50 crore kind of books. And today where I am working, it is on an average 10 to 15 crore of average ticket size of lending. So otherwise than the ticket size, I don't find there is a much difference into the working governance and compliance part from the regulator's perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Now, your role does demand that you maintain, that you monitor economic conditions.
Yeah.
Right. What are your observations and insights regarding the current global economic climate, and how does it affect your treasury strategies and decision making basis?
So today, once India aspired to be on moon, and now we have headed for the sun as well by Aditya L1.
Sure.
So India is highly aggressive today. World has recognized India not only as a world leader in terms of economic growth, but we are also a center of consumption.
Yeah.
So which is our actually one of the strength by which entire world is looking at us. Every second company which is into the top 5, top 10 kind of category in its own field are trying to set up there's some kind of relation or any office in India so that they can avail the power of the consumption by Indians.
Right.
So our entire leadership of the India had aspired to be into the 5 trillion economy by 2025,
Right.
if I'm not sure. And I think if we grow by 6.5% GDP every year, we would be able to achieve it.
Okay.
Yeah. And by 2047, I'm pretty sure, we'll be in the list of the developed countries. So today, India has its own standing, has the ecosystem, has the entire places where we can support not only the services but the manufacturing as well.
Right.
So the government is very, very clear that we need to grow at least 6.2 to 6.5 kind of percentage every year towards the GDP. When I, as a treasury professional, need to take an eye on what's going on globally, then to be very true, if I say US is not doing that good,
True.
lots of problems are there.
Absolutely.
Now they are trying to cope up with and coming back on the track, but not as it was expected.
True.
Europe is also having some kind of trouble in its economy. Everyone knows it. Some Asian countries are doing fairly well with respect to all those companies. And among Asians, the India is at the best pace and best pace going on. So in terms of the growth and the economy, we are very, very clear in mind that where we have to go, how to achieve it, what kind of machinery, governance, and other platforms would be required is clear. I see in most of the press conferences by either Sitharaman ji or by other leadership team, they have the roadmap clear.
Okay.
Execution is going on. So there is no second thought for India not to be in the 5 trillion economy.
True.
Sure. We are on the right path and we'll achieve it.
Absolutely. Sure. I'm sure we will. I mean, everything in the country seems to be right.
Yeah.
From a global perspective.
So the entire rating of the country had been stable for long by the Moody's.
Right.
And that gives you a kind of, confidence to the global lenders who lend globally here and there
True.
to lend for a long term and at a finer rate.
True.
Once you, as a country, you get a fine rate by the global players,
Right.
you offload it at a better pricing.
True.
So that's the beauty we are having today. Though there are some kind of high rates going on, but that's not only the reason today.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, in macro wise, we are quite comfortable.
Absolutely. Now, how do these fluctuations in interest rates, currency exchange rates, and other macroeconomic factors impact your treasury and resource mobilization efforts?
Yeah. Very relevant question.
Right.
So what happens? I would even like to explain it in a very layman language.
Sure.
So suppose there are three parties involved.
Mm-hmm.
One is a regulator, which is RBI.
Right.
Another one is a lender, which gives you money, which are the banks, FIs, all possible avenues.
Right.
And third one who takes money, the borrower. Right. In between the borrower and the lender, there might be some other organizations as well who can lend to the end borrower. But for just sake of understanding, say there are three people.
Right.
So banks get money by deposits and also they take money from the RBI.
Right.
RBI is the one who prints the money.
True.
So other sources as well.
Right.
But in just nutshell, for the better understanding. So when the interest rate is repo rate, everyone says repo rate. What is the repo rate? Is for overnight you take money from the RBI.
Right.
It's a repo rate they charge. So what happens when there is a lot of liquidity into the market? Into the market means in India, suppose you may having 100 rupees for this cup of tea.
Right.
And there is only one cup of tea and we don't know each other. Then I'll say I'll give you 102 rupees. And you say, no, I'll give 110 rupees. So by this, the inflation increases.
Correct.
So this is nothing but the inflation. To curb this, what need to be done? The liquidity in your pocket need to be wiped out.
Right.
How it will happen? Increase the interest rate. So when you will increase the interest rate, I will be reluctant to get money.
Yeah.
And would try to put money back into the bank so that I get the money.
Right.
So mint money out of that by deposits.
Right.
So interest rate increases. So when it's a lever. So when you increase the interest rate, the liquidity wipes out. So the inflation comes down.
Right.
Now how it impacts the borrower? I have taken money already. And that money is not at the fixed rate. That money is linked with some, basic parameter. Say repo rate, say MCLR, various things could be possible. So all those also increases because all those are related to the one from where I'm getting the money.